That's not good. Coolant has like blown up above the fuel tank. The coolant line running. Auto parts store right now. First I gotta get the coolant out of my ear. What's up everybody? Hopefully your start to fall finds you happy and healthy. In Miami here, we've gotten a little bit cooler weather, a little bit less rain. Now who am I kidding? It's still raining the same amount. It's just a little bit cooler, but not by much. Probably in around the 60s. That's why I've got my winter clothes on. I don't do very well in cold weather. So this year we will be going up to see the leaves change again for fall, and we'll be going back up to the mountains, of course, because the leaves don't change here. Before we can leave on this road trip, there's the road trip prep. Although it seems like I work on this car 24 hours a day, there's always more work to be done. So the first thing I really want to address are these two wires coming out of the battery compartment that are just heating up, and I don't know why, and I think that they have something to do with a relay that goes to the ignition, and I'm not even really sure what that's for. I think that I might need to just check the timing again because I haven't done that since I put in the new airflow meter. Also want to be checking the fuel mileage, and I believe that my AC isn't working the way it should. I think that it needs to be refilled, which means that there's a leak somewhere in the system, but I'm not even going to worry about it right now. So yeah, let's get to work on the van. We checked the wires and timing, but both seemed okay. Then I got a box in the mail that I had completely forgot that I had ordered. Since I bought the car, these armrests have been super annoying. They've just been really noisy. They flop around a lot. And I bought these little kits from Go Westy to make the armrests less floppy and just all around better. All right, so I think I found my problem here. This whole assembly is really wobbly. It looks like these do tighten up, but I'm gonna need to use a little bit of Loctite on here just in case. Luckily, the kit actually provided like a little thing of Loctite, so it's perfect. Oh man, that's so much better. It's so much tighter. It's so much nice and smoother up and down. It's really good. Now I just gotta do the other three. All right, seat arms are nice and working correctly now. And they don't flop around anymore. Check that out, look at that. Stay up, whatever they want to do. They're gonna flop around and they don't shake anymore. All of the bolts that actually attach to the seat back themselves were all loose, so that was probably like the biggest problem that I had. We actually had a little bit of plastic left on those plastic washers, the bushings there, but I'm so glad that we replaced them. It just makes everything a lot better. We're gonna do the charcoal canister next, but it really makes me wonder what Gio is doing with his bus.
Hey, alright, so that was the machine shop, and looks like I'll be taking the hub to the shop to get the bearings pressed out, pressed back in. So that's going to save me a ton of time from having to press those bearings in by hand.
Alright, so the next thing on our list of stuff to fix before the trip is replacing our old charcoal canister with this new one. Been having a lot of problems with gas spurting back out of the fuel tank after I've put in fuel, and a lot of people say that that could be a problem with the charcoal canister not allowing like the pressure to escape into the engine. I've also been hearing a little bit of a clunk from the fuel tank, which is common when you have a problem with the charcoal canister being clogged up. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about with this new charcoal canister is that the inlet here is ovaled instead of round like the one that I currently have on the van. So that means that I'm gonna have to figure out a way of making this oval shaped end fit onto a tube that will also fit onto my air intake. After a little bit of patience, we were able to fit the new canister in place. Now for some spring cleaning. I haven't cleaned these cabinets since I took my car to the shop, so I'm sure there's dust and all sorts of junk all over them. So just a little bit of soap and water Should do the trick. After the interior was all clean, I packed up the van and got ready for the long trip up to North Carolina. Alright, so we're on our way to North Carolina. I didn't film the first little part of this trip. It was just me going from Miami to Vero Beach. And then behind me is Gio and Kelsey. And they're in their van, Dirtfoot. 185 miles of straight I-95 highway. The first thing is first, get out of Florida without any problems. Getting out of Florida with no problems was much easier said than done. Although the vans were running really well for the moment, it was only a matter of time until one of them decided to act up. Big problem.
It was like coolant has like blown up. It's underneath. It's the line under above the fuel tank. The coolant line running. Look at this. Now that it's cooled down, maybe we can start the engine and at least creep it on over to the gas station. That would be better. So.
Yeah, I think that it could be just because also we're tilted right now, so maybe the coolant is like spilling out of something else. But yeah, let's let them cool off. Shit, that's not good. I don't know, he's leaking coolant out of somewhere, so hopefully it's not anything too big that we can't fix on the side of the road. We're in Daytona right now. We're literally just past Port Orange in Daytona. It seems like there's a bike week or something going on, so there's millions of bikers just everywhere.
First I gotta get the coolant out of my ear. So, man, it just like blew up.
Holy hell, dude, there's coolant all over the back too.
Everywhere. Everywhere. It just like, it blew.
Sir, I'm sorry, we can't handle that one. And I don't know where to recommend you on. Message. I'll make sure I get back to you quickly. Our hours are Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. And it is Saturday. So that won't work.
This one I think is gonna need to, we're gonna need to drop the tank, you know, and see what's going on up there, which sucks, but it's gonna have to get done.
I don't have anything that can fix it. I mean, I've heard of people using fence pipe and some rubber, you know, some rubber coolant lines, like you said, they patch it in.
Right.
Also, I've heard of people using like marine, like boat coolant lines and just replacing the metal with that stuff front to back.
You don't happen to know any shops in the area? I mean, it's Saturday and we've called around and it's no dice. Our friend Steve off of the, what is it, the app? What is it called?
Van Alert?
Van Alert app. Great guy, just gave me a call back. He says he's gonna leave in a few and he's gonna meet us up here. He's about 10 minutes down the road, thankfully. And he's got ramps, which is gonna help us figure out what's going on. More than likely, the coolant lines, the metal ones, have been rubbing together, and it's happened in the past, but this time it's just in a crappy spot, which is underneath the fuel tank. So we may have to drop the fuel tank. I'm hoping we don't have to, but maybe if we drop the spare tire, that you have access.
Yeah.
You know
I think that's
mean?
a good idea.
Okay.
Yes, because that'll tell if the coolant line is leaking in front, like next to the radiator,
Right.
or behind
Or behind
next to the gas tank.
Honestly, I think we'll wait for his ramps though, because it's gonna be easier. Tons of fun stuff when you're on a road trip, and it's a Saturday, so no shop is open, and it's bike week.
I'm gonna
Fest.
lose my hearing by the time we're out of here.
Good thing it happened right when we were coming off 95 for a fuel stop. Which, speaking of which, remind me, we still need fuel.
Yeah, definitely need fuel. My fuel gauge is toast already. It says that it's on empty, but I'm sure I have half a tank.
Yeah, you can see a better picture right there. And, right where that little brown spot is, you can see where
Yeah.
it's
There's like a
spewed
zip
there.
tie right there.
There's like a zip tie right there, yeah. And then if you zoom in on it, see that? Looks like that's where it spewed out and it was bubbling.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it is. And that's halfway, like I said, that's like halfway along the fuel tank. Steve.
Yes. Steve.
Over here in Ormond Beach. Florida man. Yeah. You can find this guy on Van Alert. So if you're ever in Ormond Beach, you know, this is your man right here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, you don't have to bug him too much, so.
No, that app works so well. We're gonna put some water inside the coolant reservoir. We're gonna let it flow through a little bit, and we're gonna see where the water is actually leaking from.
He's one of
you do is cut those metal lines off that far, and that'll give you something for a rubber hose to clamp back onto. So you need hose this big. And then wherever it goes to the bottom of the gas tank. Yeah, and then you can cut those suckers right here by the fuel pump and you'd be good. Yeah. Right here.
I'd say the leak is pretty substantial.
I think it's literally right here. Like the auto parts store right down the street, but you gotta stick that damn traffic again. I don't know.
For sure we know that it's one of the metal lines, and the only thing that we can think about doing is possibly cutting it with a hacksaw and putting in a piece of rubber line from one side of the fuel tank to the other. Kind of a big job. We might need to run over to the auto parts store really quick to get a length of hose.
Yeah. There, 1 minute gun this.
Safety first. Alright. Hey, you ever used one of these before?
No.
Me either.
Good. Really?
Bring this thing. Turns out it's a good idea that I did.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. After a lot of hard work and struggling, they were finally able to get the coolant lines out of the car.
Hole right there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I think you made the right call by taking this whole section out.
You made the right call.
It's clean back this way.
Nice. Gio and Steve went to a marine surplus store, which is pretty much the only place that we could find anything that is made of rubber that was as big as the pipe needed to be. But we tried everything from auto parts stores to tractor supply stores to like home stores, and nothing really had it except for a marine surplus store. In the end, it was actually Napa Auto Parts that had the hose and length that we needed. Shout out to Napa Auto Parts.
And this guy right here,
Dude,
Steve.
this guy's the man.
Steve is the man. We checked everything. We checked Tractor Supply. We called numerous advanced auto parts. I mean, you won't believe the journey we've been through, but we finally lucked out and got this hose.
I'm honestly still surprised that we were able to find a hose this long and the correct diameter on a Saturday. We were very lucky. Huge shout out to Steve. I'm gonna link his Instagram in the description because man, he has helped us out so much.
Forward a bit.
They got everything back together. They're gonna start it up and bleed the system now. We're gonna pour about a gallon of just tap water right now just to make sure that there's no leaks before we actually start adding real coolant. Got a pretty big storm on the horizon too, so we gotta kick this thing into high gear. Well, and just like that, it's done. We got all the air out of the system. I think that when we get maybe another few hours into it and stop for the next tank of fuel, maybe we'll keep the car on, rev it up a little bit, and just open it up and try to get any extra air out of it if we see that it's getting hot or anything. But hopefully it holds together for the rest of the trip.
Slightly above normal, but it's because we're sitting still. Once we get some air rushing through the radiator, it should actually even out, so.
Right.
It's alive. Well, we made it onto the Jekyll Island exit. I think it's called the Brunswick area. And we just happened to need gas right at the Jekyll Island exit. We pulled over, and as you can see behind me, Gio's van is leaking a little bit of coolant, but it's not too bad. I don't think it's leaking. I think that it's just the overflow, like when we pulled over and stopped the car. The overflow kind of just came up through the top of those 3 little holes on the overflow tank, because I think that we put a little extra coolant in there than what was really supposed to be. Everything seems to be working good, running nice and cool. My car is super cool, and it is actually kind of chilly out right now. We decided to stop for the night in Savannah, Georgia, and continue on the next morning, but that's a story for next video.